Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Samasta Janakalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham. We continue with our teachings of Vivekachudamani. We left off at 216. We start with 217 today. Jagrat swapna shushuptishu sfutataram yosau samujrumbate pratyagrupataya sadahamahamithi antasfurannekada नानाकारविकारभागिन इमान् पश्यन् अहं धीमुखान् नित्यानन्दचिदात्मना स्फुरति तं विद्धि स्वमेतं हृदि. This very beautiful shloka, pregnant with so many deeper imports. Over here it says yaha asau, yaha meaning this awareness, consciousness, we are still talking about this atma. So this atma, yaha asau jagrat swapna shushuptishu sfutataram samujrumbhate. So, samyak ujrumbate, that which very well manifests, and then that too sfutataram, it clearly manifests. Where does it manifest? Jagrat, swapna, shushuptishu, in these three states of the existence of a jiva. The Jagrat Avastha, Swapna Avastha, Shushupti Avastha, this absolute consciousness awareness, it is the underlying principle of the three avasthas. That is what is taken in Mandukya Upanishad, that it is the Adhar, Soyam Chatushpadaha. that it is the fourth. And what is this fourth? It is fourth only because of these Jagrat, Swapna, Shushupti. Not that it is not in these three and it is something other than these three, some fourth. No, no, no. Not like that. Just like $1 bill has 4 quarters in it. So the first quarter, the second quarter, the third quarter, and the fourth quarter. When we say the fourth quarter, in the fourth, you cannot have the fourth quarter of $1 without the first three being there. So the fourth is the very support of Jagrat, Swapna, Shushupti. But yet it is other than the Jagrat, Swapna, Shushupti. But it clearly expresses its Chaitanya and its Satta, its consciousness and its existence, and along with its consciousness, its existence, the very bliss that the jiva experiences from the Anandamaya Kosha, where the reflection takes place. Priyamod and Pramod we saw in the previous classes, that this awareness, consciousness clearly manifests in and through our waking. If at all we know anything in our waking, it is because in every moment of our waking existence, consciousness is. It supports all our experiences. In the dream state, consciousness ever is. It supports our entire Swapnavastha, our entire dream state. It upholds. Every moment of the dream, the same awareness lends its sentiency to the mind and the intellect, which is capable of projecting. And in the deep sleep state, void, in that void also, it ever is. Thus, the void is experienced as a good night's sleep upon waking up. Yes, in the presence of the deep sleep state, I am not aware in it. But upon waking up, I can say, I was. Because who gave me the experience that I had a good night's sleep? It's the same consciousness in the waking which says, I had no dream but a good sleep. So, sfutataram, clearly, ujrumbate, samujrumbate, samyak, ujrumbate, very well it manifests. Clearly, it exists. That is the first statement. The second statement, then it is saying, anekadha sada pratyagrupataya ahamahamiti antasfuran. So, anta, inside. Anekadha. Anekadha, so many. And what so many? So many in the very cave of the intellect. This Atma residing in the cave of the intellect, it lights up the buddhi, and in the buddhi, various thoughts appear. But in the buddhi itself, aham, 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 iti, over here, it continuously that which perceives inwardly, pratyagrupataya, sada, always, aham ahamiti, in the various myriad forms of the mind intellect complex, it exists as I am, I am, I am. These impressions, it is known as a series of these unknown impressions, all of these unknown impressions which come in its light, they become known. In this ahankar, that ahankar says, I am, my buddhi, my mind, my body. This ego ever asserts its own existence, and it asserts its existence as aham, 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 iti sfuran. In this way, it pratyagrupataya sada aham aham iti anta sfuran. It shines. It shines brilliantly. Sfuran ekadha. Ekadha, in the same way, continuously it shines. Sfuran ekadha. I said anekadha, my mistake. It wasn't anekadha. It is ekadha. Continuously, it shines as this one awareness principle continuously shines as one homogeneous mass of pure existence as I, I, I. Then the third line says, Nana, over here, Nana Akara Vikara Bhaginaha Iman Pashyan Aham Dhimukhan. Aham, I, the buddhi, so ego, buddhi, mukhan, all of this aham di mukhan continuously, the ego, intellect, etc. Aham di mukhan imam nana akara vikara bhaginaha, continuously various forms, the various forms which rise in the very pool of the antakarana. Continuously they rise. Pashyan, it sees all of them. In its presence, it is aware of every single thought modification which rises in the pool of mind, intellect, ego. Continuously, it silently remains as a onlooker, as a witness. So, aham di mukhan iman nana akara vikara bhaginaha pashyan. It sees. It continuously experiences. Then, what else? What is the fourth line? The fourth line says, Nitya Ananda Chit Atmana Sfurati Tam Vidhi Swam Etam Hridi. This Nitya Ananda Chit Atmana, this consciousness which is absolute consciousness bliss, that consciousness, hridi, in the very cave of the intellect, in the very heart, what happens? Sfurati, it shines. Sfurati, it shines brilliantly. Tam etam swam vidhi. The teacher is saying, Shankaracharya ji is saying, that which shines brilliantly within tam vidhi. You come to know that as I am that pure awareness, consciousness, bliss. Tam Duradarsham Gudam Anupravishtam Guhahitam Gahvareshtam Puranam Adhyatma Yoga Digamena Devam Matva Dhiro Harshashokav Jahati. In Kathopanishad, it is very brilliantly, very beautifully said, Tam Atmanam Duradarsham, very difficult to see. Gudam, why it is difficult to see? Gudam, it is hidden. Where? Guhahitam, in the very cave. Guha, in the cave of the intellect, in the cave of the heart, it is all one and the same. In the innermost chamber of pure awareness, Guhahitam Gahvareshtam Puranam, the most dear, most ancient Adhyatma Yoga Adhigamena, by the yoga of meditation, turning the mind's attention away from the world of plurality and turning it towards the self, that Atma can be known by this yoga of meditation. Adhyatma Yoga Adhigamenam Devam Matva. It is known as the Chaitanya Swarup. It is of the nature of awareness. Dhiraha, wise person, crosses over Harsha Shoka and enters where? This Nitya Ananda Chit Atmana. It is of the eternal existence, consciousness, bliss, is what the yogi becomes, yogi regains. In this way, we have seen this again. Shankaracharya ji keeps on repeating these ideas about this divine consciousness. Now, the famous example over here is repeated about the pot and the water in the pot. So, we will see this. Ghatodake bimbitamarka bimbam alokya mudho ravimeva manyate tatha chidabha samupadi samstam Brantyahametyeva jado bhimanyate. Ghata udake. Ghata, a pot. Udake, a water in a pot. A water in a pot. Bimbitam arka bimbam. In this pot with water, the sun in the sky up above reflects, and there is a reflection over there in that water. Alokya, having seen that over here, Mudaha Ravim Eva Manyate. A fool who is not thinking properly looks at the reflection of the sun and says, "Ah, the sun has fallen in the bucket." That little bucket, so little water. Yes, the sun is shining brilliantly, but that sun, millions of miles away, so bright, so huge. And Mudaha says that Ravimeva Manyate, that this is sun itself has fallen in here. Ravim Eva, this itself is sun. What to do? So over here, Tatha, in the same way, Chidabhasam Upadi Samstam. This reflection of the self, this reflective consciousness, in this pool of antakarana. In this pool of antakarana, chidabhasam upadi samstam. This pool over here is upadhi. Upadhi samstam brantya aham iti eva jadaha abhimanyate. That person who is jada, whose buddhi is jada. Buddhi not thinking properly, what does the person think? Brantya, out of some delusion. The person is Brantya Abhimanyate, uh, Brantya Aham Itieva Abhimanyate. This fool thinks that this is me. Aham iti, the reflection. And this reflection over here is the jiva. What a tiny little jiva, having some finite experience in finite amount of antakarana, in the finite bucket, and with whatever conditions of that finite bucket of water. It could be muddy water, it could be that pot is moving in the wind continuously and the water also moves. So that reflection depends upon the tiny little whatever the surface area of the water is, that is all. Plus on top of that, the dirt which is there in the bucket and the muddy water, the reflection is also muddy and dirty. And on a windy day, when the bucket is continuously shaking and moving, the water also moves, and that same reflection also keeps on moving. But the sun up above does not move. The sun up above is ever brilliant. The sun is not bound by some little space. In fact, it covers the vast expanse of the entire sky. So, this example over here is very important for us to process, that a person who does not think properly, they think themselves to be something finite. But Atma is above and beyond this finite experience of this jiva. Atma is infinite. Atma ever is. That is what is mentioned over here. Continuing, Gatam jalam tad gatamarkabimbam vihaya sarvam viniriksyate kaha tatastha etantridayavabhasakaha swayam prakasho vidusha yatha tatha. Yatha, just like Vidusha, a wise person, Ghatam Jalam, the water in the pot, Tadgatamarka Bimbam, that very reflection of the sun within the pool of water in the pot which has water, Sarvam Vihaya, he negates the whole thing. Sarvam, all of this, vihaya, leaving aside all of this, arkaha, that uh, that sun, arkaha, etat tritaya avabhasakaha swayam prakashaha tatastha manyate, you have to add. So, a wise person, he negates this Gatam, the pot, Jalam, the water, Tadgata Marka Bimbam, and the reflective consciousness within. Having discarded all of that, what does he do? Arka, that pure sun up above, what is it? Tat Tridaya Avabhasakaha. That sun, Atma, making the correlation to that Atma is Tridaya Avabhasakaha. It illumines the three states of uh, Jagrat, Swapna, Shushupti. Not only that, that same sun up above, it illumines Ghatam, Jalam, Tadgata, Arka, Bimbam. These three, the pot, the water, and the reflection, all of this, it is this pure sun which illumines all three of them. Without the sun, the gutter cannot be known, the water cannot be known, and there will be no reflection in the water in that pot. Swayam Prakashaha, which is self-luminous, this sun, and something unique is mentioned over here. What is mentioned over here? Tatastha. Tatastha over here means this is a very technical term in Vedanta. Literally, it means that it is ever independent and will it ever is unchanging, immutable. But over here, Tatastha means very unique. There are three ways to indicate a thing. In Vedanta, to indicate this Atma, we have three things. One is Tatastha Lakshana. The second one is Atat Vyavrutti Lakshana. And the third is Swarupa Lakshana. So, we say the first one is Tatastha Lakshana. When we say Tatastha Lakshana, if we go to somebody's home, especially in India, you ask for a direction to somebody's home. And in India, the direction is very unique. You make a right, and when you make a right, you will see Bank of Baroda on your right hand side. Right after Bank of Baroda, or you will make a left. When you make a left, you go little bit, and there will be at the corner of another street a dhobi wala. He will be ironing clothes. Right over there, you make a left. And when you make a left over there, the fourth house, on top of the house, you will see a Trishul. That is the home that you have to come to. Now you have to remember all these signs on the road. Now, over here Gurudev gives the example that on that fourth house, instead of Trishul, there is a crow. So you come to that house which has a crow on it. Now, you go to that house which has a crow. Next time when you want to go, is that crow going to be seated over there? If you start looking for that crow, what will happen? You will not find that home. So that crow is Tatastha Lakshana. That crow indicates the home But the crow has nothing to do with the home. The crow has nothing to do with the home. That is Tatastha Lakshana. Another way, Chandra Shakha Nyay can also be used. You want to show somebody a Dvitiya Chandra Kala, and right after the sunset, the horizon is all beautifully lit up in reddish orange. And in that reddish orange, on the western horizon, as the sun has just gone down after Amavasya, in the Shukla Paksh Dvitiya, there's a fine Chandrakala. But to find it, to point it to somebody, I can see it, but somebody is looking, where is it? Where is it? And they'll start looking moon. If they don't know which tithi where the moon is, they will look everywhere in the sky. They'll start above, but there is no moon. In the east, there is no moon. In the west, the sun has just gone down and it is just pink, 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 orange, orange, orange. So what we do is we take a tree. A tree has a branch hanging out, and we say, you see this tree? Yes. You see that branch? Yes. Now, right at the tip of the branch, on the back of that branch, right over there, there is moon. Now, literally, is the moon right behind that branch? Moon is thousands of miles away, but the person is going to have to make a leap and look at that moon. So there is Chandra Shakha Nyay to indicate something. Over here, we are indicating this Atma from these three states of existences. Atma is way above and beyond them. But it is because of the Atma all of these are known. So this is Tatastha. That Surya reflection in their Chidabhas, the water and all of them, it is in here the awareness is to be known. But it is to be known as something other than this. It is not part of this. It is beyond it. Just like the crow is not part of the home. It is beyond it. Trishul, somebody has put a Trishul over there on top of the home. Some child may go up there to fly a kite and remove it. And next time you look for Trishul, there is no Trishul. Gone. So, Tatastha Lakshana. The second one is Atat Vyavrutti Lakshana, which is not mentioned over here, but I will in the Vedanta. What is this Atat Vyavrutti Lakshana? So, right after the first time Sita ji had seen Lord Rama, and it was decided that he broke the bow of Bhagwan Shivji, and she knew she had to marry this Lord Rama. Having broken Shivadhanush, she came back running with her friend to her place, and all her friends came running to her. We heard somebody broke this Shivadhanush. Who is it? Did you see who broke it? And these princes are seated in Janak Maharaj. In Janak Maharaj's darbar over there, they are seated, and she's in that corner, and they are peeping through a door which is open, and the Friends of Sita ji are asking, is it that one who's seated? Is it this one who's seated? He said, you see the one who's seated? That's not him. That is the Guru who brought them. You see the light one? That's not him either. That's his brother. And then who's left? The dark one. He said, that is Rama. So after negating what remains, that is him. So she didn't want to directly point out Lord Rama. Out of bashfulness, she negated all who are over there, and what remains is Rama. Patat vyavrutti lakshana. And Swarupa lakshana, what to talk, or we just saw in the last shloka, previous shloka, Nitya Ananda Chidatmana. This is a Swarupa Lakshana. It is eternal, it is Chit conscious, it is existence, Sat, and Anand. It is blissful existence. So these are the Swarupa Lakshana. Only 4 of them. Existence, consciousness, bliss, infinitude. Satyam, Jnanam, Anandam, Anantam, Brahma. Bas. That is the Swarupa Lakshana. It is a nature. So in that way, Tatastha, that is the very sun. That sun which illumines everything. The wise realizes the self-luminous, absolute reality which illumines these 3 and recognizes it as independent of all of them. When it is said, Tatastha Tatraya Avabhasaka, it illumines all of this and yet it remains beyond it. That Tatastha Atma is. That Atma ever is. So Gurudev over here makes a note. Swami Taponji Maharaj used to say that these 2 verses, 218 to 19, helped him a lot in his sadhana. So every time, we get caught up with either emotion, with a thought, a desire, we should always remember, I'm neither this pot, nor the water in it, nor the reflection, not this body. I am not this pool of antakarana. The mind has all sorts of dosha, but I have absolutely none. I am the 4th one. Now these next set of 3 shlokas, these are just different pointers, indicators to the truth. What is Atma? That is mentioned over here in Shloka 220 to 21 and 222. Deham diyam chit pratibimbamevam visrujya buddho nihitam guhayam द्रष्टारमात्मानमखण्डबोधं सर्वप्रकाशं सदसद्विलक्षणं नित्यं विभुं सर्वगतं सुसूक्ष्मम् अन्तर्बहिःशून्यमनन्यमात्मनः विज्ञाय सम्यक् निजरूपमेतत् पुमान् विपाप्मा विरजो विमृत्युः. In the second line, in the second shloka, last line, first word, Puman. So that is the subject over here. Puman. Puman, this person, this man, and then we come back to the first shloka. So that is the subject. Now, this subject will be talked about in grammar subject, subject object, and then the relationship. So that is the subject. Now we will try to understand the shloka. So this man, deham diyam chit pratibimbam evam visrujya. This man, which man? Over here, mumukshu, a wise person, a student of Vedanta. Over here, the student who has asked the question. So that person, deham, the body, diyam, buddhi, the body, buddhi over here, diyam. And what is also implied is this mind buddhi complex, both of them. The difference is we create out of the functionality, but basically it is the same. One is emotion, one is thought, that's it. But so dhyam, chit pratibimbameva, and then the reflective consciousness. What is that? The PFT, the ego over here. This ego, chit pratibimbamevam, visrujya, having rejected, having casted off, leaving aside, etc. Nihitam guhayam, visrujya, having removed that, buddho, in this buddhi, buddho guhayam, in the very cave of the intellect, nihitam, very well hidden, but it is present, very well present, nihitam guhayam, in this cave. In this cave of the buddhi resides this Atma. And what is that Atma? Over here it is mentioned drashtaram. Now all of these are adjectives trying to explain what this Atma is. So the first one, drashtaram. What is it? It is a witness, a seer. It is a silent witness. It witnesses Jagrat, Swapna, Shushupti. It witnesses Asti, Jayate, Vardate, Viprinamate, Apakshiyate, eventually Vinashyati. Shat Vikaras. It will see all of those Vikaras of the Sharira. It will see the Vikaras of the Mana, Buddhi. It will see the very thought process. It witnesses the emotions and it witnesses the world of objects. In all three avasthas, in all planes, in all places. So it is a witness. It is seer. And you know, this seer witness can never ever be the seen. Again, we have to apply all of these things. See, these are all contemplation shlokas. This is how, by contemplating, we remove all our doubts. And once our buddhi is solidified in this understanding, then we are capable of negating very easily. Otherwise, the negation of it is very difficult. So, it is drashtaram. Atmanam, it is capital S, self. Like Arka, the sun, and Arka Pratibimbam, the reflection of the reflection of the sun in the bucket is known as Arka Pratibimbam. and the absolute, the actual sun in the sky is Arka. In the same way, over here, it is Atmanam. And what is the reflection? Jivatmanam. So it is a Jivatma. It is ever this Atma. Where is it? It shines brilliantly in this cave of the intellect. Atmanam and Akhanda Bodhar Rupam. It is Akhanda Bodham. It is of the nature of, I added the word Rupam. Huh? It is not over here. I added because it is its nature. It is its Swarup. Akhanda Bodha Rupam. It is that which is absolute knowledge. Unbroken existence. Unbroken knowledge. Akhanda Bodham. And its absolute knowledge, which is what? I am. I am. Aham, aham, aham. It throbs with the awareness. And this awareness is self-luminous. So it knows that it is. That is Akhanda Bodha. It ever is aware of its Gnapti Swarup. Its Swarup of knowing. It ever knows itself. So Akhanda Bodham, Sarva Prakasham. Sarva Prakasham, it illumines everything. It is, it illumines everything. And when it is said that it illumines everything, because it's Akhanda Bodh, it knows everything. And when it knows everything, all-knowing, omniscient. It is all-knowing principle, omniscient. Sat asat vilakshanam. Very, very important. Sat asat vilakshanam. So we take Sat as manifest in the language of Vedanta. Sat over here meaning existence which has manifested. Asat is unmanifest. But you know, Prakriti in its rudimentary state is also unmanifest. In due time it manifests. So that is what is meant by gross and subtle, beyond it. Because the buddhi is also subtle. But Atma is not the subtlety of the buddhi. It is beyond it. Manifestation subtle, gross, unmanifest, the subtle tendencies, etc., which has not yet manifested, it is beyond. Sat asat vilakshana, it is beyond. Meaning it is absolute unmanifest existence. That existence of Atma never, never, ever, ever manifests. It never manifests. It ever is. If it manifests, it cannot be omnipresence. Because if it manifests here, it doesn't manifest there. And the limitations of time and space will make it limited. In this time, in this place, it manifests, so it is bound by this time and this place. Then it cannot be omnipresence. So it is all-knowing, it is all present everywhere, and that is what makes it omnipotence, it is all powerful. It is everywhere, all knowing, in all places, all powerful at all times. That over here, Sat Asat Vilakshanam. It is neither gross, neither subtle, it is absolute, unmanifest. And that is Sat Asat Vilakshanam, omnipresence, omnipotence, omniscience. That is that. So self-effulgent, Sarva Prakash, then Sadasat Vilakshanam, then Nityam. Nityam, it is eternal. It is not bound by temporal existence of time and place. It is beyond that. Nityam, Vibhum, all pervading, everywhere, omnipresent again. Sarvagatam. So, by saying Nityam, we are negating time. It is beyond time. By saying Vibhum, all pervading, we are saying it is beyond space. It is beyond space. Now the third one is Sarvagatam. It is all pervading. But isn't Vibhum all pervading? So Sarvagatam omnipresent, Vibhum all pervading, Sarvagatam omnipresent. So what is meant by both of them? So what is meant by both of them when we say that they are both, first one all pervading, second one all pervading? First one all pervading beyond spatial, Vibhum. The Sarvagatam is what is over there is, it is unconditioned by objective reality. That is what is meant by Sarvagatam. No objects can limit it. And that space is vast. So it is even the upholder of the space. So Vibhum Sarvagatam Susukshmam, extremely subtle. So Sarvagatam, omnipresent, Susukshmam, supremely subtle. That's all I can say. What is Susukshmam? Because it is absolute unmanifest. It never ever manifests. It can never ever be captured even in a thought as a concept. This Susukshmam Antar Bahihi Shunyam. Antar Bahihi Shunyam, without the inside or the outside. That's why Mandukya says, it is not the inner consciousness, it is not the outside consciousness. Nanta prajnam, na bahish prajnam, no bhayata prajnam. It is not the inner consciousness, dream state. It is not the outside consciousness, waking state. Na ubhayata prajnam, it is not in this in-between stages. No. It is beyond the inside and the outside, the exterior and the interior. It is way beyond that. It is above and beyond. Antar bahihi shunyam ananyam. Ananyam, it is non-different. It is one pure, homogeneous mass of pure existence. It alone is. There is nothing other than that. So, ananyam, Atmanaha. It is nothing but from the absolute self. When I say from, grammar is used over here from the self. It is actually only self. It is from itself. It has no origin. It is not created. It is uncaused cause. It has no origin. It ever is. It was created by itself. So it is from its own self. So over here, etam samyak nijarupam Vijnaya. This etam, this atma, this consciousness, samyak, very well, nija rupam, one's own nature, one's own swaroop, nija rupam, one's own nature, Vijnaya, you come to realize. Vipapmanam. Vipapma, it is free from any type of sin. Virajaha, it is devoid of any type of rajas. Vimrutyuhu, it is infallible. Achyutaha. So, it is Chutam na vidyate iti achyutaha. It cannot be broken down into anything. It is vimrutyuhu. Mrutyu breaks down into various parts, etc. So it is vimrutyuhu. It is deathless. Only something which has parts can die. A part can be born and a part can be destroyed, but this is partless. विशोक आनंद घनो विपश्चित स्वयं कुतश्चिन्न बिभेति कश्चित् नान्योस्ति पंथा भवबन्ध मुक्तेः विना स्वतत्वावगमं मुमुक्षोः. So Vipaschita, a very well discriminating person, the student over here, Vipaschita, Vishoka, devoid of any types of grief. Ashochananva shochastvam. Bhagavad Gita starts with that. You grieve for that which should not be grieved for. So over here, that person who has understood this Atma doesn't grieve. Anandaganaha. Anandaganaha is pure mass of absolute bliss. Person is in blissful existence. Swayam kutaschinna bibheti kaschita. This person, doesn't himself, he's not fearful of neither himself or anybody else. Swayam kutaschin nabibheti kaschita. Nabibheti kaschita is not fearful of anybody. Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha anandam brahmano vidwan nabibheti kadachaneti. In Taittiriya Upanishad Brahmananda Valli, nabibheti kadachaneti, nabibheti kutaschaneti. So he is not fearful of anybody. This speech and mind go in search of Atma, it comes back, aprapya manasa saha, is not able to. But anando, anandam brahmano vidwan, but the wise, who is blissful Atma itself, nabibheti kutaschaneti, he doesn't fear anything, anybody. So स्वयं कुतश्चिन्न बिभेति कश्चित् न अन्य अस्ति पंथा भवबंध मुक्तेः भवबंध मुक्तेः for the cause of liberation from the finite world of samsar. Anya pantha na asti. There is no other way than realizing Atma exactly the way it is pointed out over here. There is no other way. We don't even know a way. Upanishads have the audacity to say that this is all that we know. Nanya pantha vidyate anaya. It's in Purusha Suktam, it is there in Kaivalya, in so many Upanishads, Shvetashvatara Upanishad, so many places, Katho Upanishad, it is declared there is no other way. Iti Shushruma Purvesham, in Keno Upanishad says, this is how it was taught to us by our teacher, and this is what I am teaching you, and there is no other way that I can teach you except Nityam, Vipum, Sarvagatam, Susukshmam, Antarbahi Shunyam, Ananyam, Atmanaha, Vignaya, Samyak, Nijarupametam, Puman, Vipapma, Virajaha, Nimutyuhu. Bas, there is no other way. Na Anya Pantha Asti. And then, Mumukshoho, Bhavabandha Hetuhu, Bhavabandha Mukta Hetuhu Vina Swa Tattva Avagamanam. Without realizing one's own self, there is no other way. That is in the last line. Vina, without, Swatattva Avagamanam, without realizing one's own absolute nature, Nanya Pantha Vidyate Anaya. There is no other way. No other way. We have to realize this Atma. And in case if we don't realize, then we'll continue from where we have left off. That is it. So, in this way, these are beautiful, beautiful pointers for thinking. More, we will continue next class. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaः, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet. Om shanti shanti shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari